Same time mean this time that we are doing it right now. It's either we do it an hour earlier than this time, or we leave it at this time. Okay, we're live on YouTube, so I'll take this off. I'll get them. So you've got the three options. 115 people voted already. Click one of the three. I think one of the three is for you, right? We've got some. So we'll give it 1 minute. We'll allow those people who are on YouTube. Welcome to our webinar. We haven't started. We are just launching a poll as to what time to do the webinar. I'll end the poll right now. I think we've got enough information. End poll, and I'll share the results with you guys. Share results. So as you can see, the majority of the people are for same time. If you take those who no difference to them and add it, we'll have to go with the same time. Only 24% is for changing. Majority wins, right? Nothing I can do there. So all of you see the poll, we'll just stop the sharing and we'll go from there, right? Okay, guys, good afternoon. Welcome to the Weekly Outlook. Glad to see so many of you. I still think there could be a lot more of you coming. Is the YouTube running good? Can somebody confirm that the YouTube is going good? Can somebody give me a yes if YouTube is? Okay, one person said yes, one person said not yet. I think it's running. Can somebody else confirm that YouTube is running live, please? Okay, thank you, because I can't see the YouTube. I'm not on YouTube, I'm on Zoom. For those of you on YouTube who would like to take part in Q&As and in polling and all of that, please get the live link from my Facebook page. Let me bring up my Facebook page so you guys would get it. It's always not on my personal Facebook page, but on the ProWave page. This is my personal one for family. But if you go on ProWave, this is the one you want. ProWave Trader, right? On this Facebook page. And the link is always pinned at the top here. The very top one will be the link. It's for 3 months, the same link for 3 months. It's going to end this month. I think today would be the last day for this link. No, we have one more on the 25th. This link will be over. Then I will remove this one and I'll post a new link for the next 3 months or 2 months. So you can get the link from here. And once you sign up, once you register with the link, you will have continuous, you will get an email telling you to join, and you can share the link with more people if you think that, the webinar is worth looking at. If you're one of the people who like what we do, and I think there are 6,000 people who watch this webinar on the recording. If you go on the YouTube page, you will find that there are about 6,000 people who looked at it consistently. If you guys shared it with other traders, if you like it, you're looking at it all the time, then you can help share it so more traders get access to the live one. Because even from traders who cannot afford my course, they send me very interesting messages as to how they're learning from what I do on the weekly basis for free. And I tried every weekly course to add some, something new onto it, tell you something more about wave analysis so that helps you. Right? So the more people see it, the better it is. The less people lose their account. At least they will learn a few things from the webinars that, to be more careful at least. The next course question, when is the next course starting? The next course is starting on next Monday. That is the 26th. The 25th will be the last. On the 26th, we are starting. If you want to join us, I don't do a lot of ads in my webinar, but if you want to join us, I can tell you just for all the information, add me in Skype, M-A-N-G-A-L, Mangle 457. Add me in Skype. Don't send message anywhere. When you add me in Skype, I will send you a short message about the webinar. And any questions you have, you can ask me there. Right? It's quite an interesting course. One of the main questions I always get, what is the difference between the course and the free webinars? Well, it's a huge difference. The free webinars are just basics, my views of where, what is going to be the next move. In the course, we teach you how to do it, how to analyze the charts the way I analyze it. You learn to understand that how the patterns develop, what structure they make, how to identify the structure, and how you can make your forecast. We teach you how to trade it. and we have practical trading sessions. Literally practical training sessions. You do the charts, we look at it. We have small groups, very small groups of 10 traders with one of our senior traders who look at what you do, correct what you do, and then you do practice sessions with me, and then we go on. We do a lot of training. We have a Q&A every day, every week. We have a Q&A. Sometimes it's 2-3 times a week when I get into the trading room with the traders. And then we also, do a daily webinar every day, 8 a.m. London time. I do a webinar where I do updates on the charts so traders could compare what they have with what I see and trades that are ready to go. And then we have the trading room. The trading room is complimentary. You get access to that after you finish the course, but you get access to that room only on the merit that you know what we do, and you get to stay in that room if you have good behavior. So I've kicked out a number of people from that room permanently. Well, you only get kicked out of that room for 2 things. One is you're insulting people in there, or you're bad behavior, or you're trying to steal and sell our stuff. So this week, 2 things happened. One person got kicked out for trying to sell courses while in our group, and that is not allowed. He got kicked out. He promised me he's going to troll me, and he's going to write bad things about me all over the internet, and that I'm a scam and whatever. So congratulations. He will be a professional troll. And we had one trader who is in the course for, well, not one, 2 traders who were in the room for over a year, managed to double their account in less than 6 months. After learning for about a year, they have managed to double their account in 6 months. So you see the difference, right? People who want to be traders become very good traders. After learning and getting the knowledge and experience, they can do amazing things. And I'm not talking about a small account. The first one trader had a small account, which he doubled. I think that's like, he needs time to still practice more. But one trader doubled a $95,000 account in 6 months. And that's not a fluke, right? You don't do that so easy. So you can either take a year and study and do magical things. And, it's not like it's every 6 months he's going to do that, but, he can do it, which means in a year, maybe a next time, maybe it will take him 2 years again to double it, but he can do it. It's doable. And, these are extremes. Not everybody do. We have an average about 60% success, but they make very modest, not doubling their account in a year, maybe a year and a half. Some people do it. Or after 1 year, you start stealing stuff to sell, and then you get kicked out. So it's, people always ask me how traders do after they complete your course. Those are 2 good examples of how you can do after you complete the course. It's always about choice. What is your choice? What do you want? How do you see yourself, and what do you want to do? You want to steal and make fast money, and then when you get caught, you troll me? Great, congratulations. You may become a professional troll. You want to learn to trade? You're in the right place if you're with us. We can teach you, and you can do good. You can double your account in a year. It's very possible. Right? So, I can't swear for the people in my room because I don't know these people, but I can tell you, I keep discipline in the room, and it's an amazing place. We have had to throw out only about 5-6 people for the last 4 years in that room with over 700 traders in the room. 700 who have traded. Not all the traders are super active in the room. They train, they learn, they go do different stuff. Some leave and go do their own thing. Some working with companies, some trading their own account quietly, not very active, right? But I think we have an active core of about 250, 300 traders who are very active. So that would be the choice. It's always about choice. You make the choice and you do what you want, right? So you see, why would you want to join my room? I think you want to join the room because you want to learn to be a good trader. You actually want to do this seriously. You want to be able to analyze the charts, see it, see the daily changes, being able to see when you make mistakes on a forecast, why you make the mistakes, being able to work towards that. Because while we are in our room, we have been able to identify a number of new patterns. Why would new patterns develop? Well, I think the trading is more intense. The days when Elliott identified patterns, you didn't have computer, you didn't have intensive trading. It's not that he is wrong about the general concept. The general concept remains the same. You're going to have impulsive correction. The basic reasons why you have them might be the same. variations of the patterns is what we are seeing. Like we see a lot of variations of the expanding flats, variations of the running flats, right? We're seeing variations of pattern, and one or two new patterns we have seen that we simply didn't identify. And that's okay. That will happen, right? And then we learn from those. As a matter of fact, we have seen one pattern that took us like years to figure out what the hell that was. We've seen it before. We just kind of ignore it, put it into the correction, and label, try to see whether we can figure out it, probably make something of it. And now it's crystal clear to us because we've seen it repeat itself over and over and over. And now guess what? We're able to trade it very, very good. Most of my traders start seeing it and say, you know what? We're ready for this one. If it behaves that way, we're going to be in the trade, right? So that's the whole point. You stay in a group that with people who are enthusiastic and who are willing to learn and want to be good at this and will be. Or you can have other ambitions. That's what we do in there. You get that opportunity to mingle with these guys, to be with them on a daily basis, and become as good as them, and even better. So this is what we were showing you last week when we started. We were saying we're in a consolidation and you will not go very much anywhere, right? But this is going to come up to break this top. And it did that. So what we were expecting next, I believe that we don't know. Here's what you will learn when you come in the room, right? We don't know that this here is over right now. There are things we will look for that will tell us that it's over. But right now, you don't know that. So it could still go up one more. It could still pull back, go up one more, pull back. But you will see these patterns in lower time frame. But when it's over, and it's likely going to be over without breaking that top, it's going to come back here because we're always looking for the 1, 2, 3, go back up. Break this low, go back up. Break that top, come back down. Now, it's not just break top and come down, break lows and go back up, because some traders who are not in the group would send me a chart. Hey, we're breaking this low. Should we go back up? And I'm like, no, because you're actually trending now. You're not in a corrective structure. You're not looking for 1, 2, 3 to go back up. So it's not that simple, but in this case, we're in a corrective structure. And I still think this will come here. Let me just erase all of that. We'll come here and go back down. So we can start to look for that sell setup. As you go to the lower time frame, what if there's a chance they will go up one more within this move? Like within this move, can they go back up one more? Yes. And if you see that developing on Monday, you should be ready for a short-term buy, a very short-term buy. But it's going to come down. So when you know that, when you have that knowledge, you're equipped with that knowledge, that this might just make one more move up and then come down, you don't end up buying at the top here, right? And then watch it go against you. Either take you out if you have a stop. If you don't have a stop, you're panicking because now it's going to break this low and you don't know what to do. So when it ends up breaking this low, you say, oh, well, that's it. I'm out of the trade. And then it turns and go back up. See? Because you don't know how the patterns are going to behave. So Euro, pretty much what we thought it should do, come and break this low. And that is what they do. They broke the low. So what we were expecting them to do, we're expecting them to go back up and retest this top. Right? So this could go back up here, retest that up. And then we will see whether they go down. When they do that, they will tell us if they're making a big correction there or if they're actually going to trend up. This move up will tell us that. And we don't know that as yet. This move up will tell us that, but it did exactly what we expected to do the last time. That is come down and break this low. Because you had 1, you had 2, we're looking for the third one. That is a good trade, came here. If you took that trade, you remember last week I said, any sell you take here is a short-term trade. You take profit, right? In this case, there may be a buy setup. I don't think it's ready as yet. I would not confirm that, but it is making a buy setup. I would like to see this consolidate. You notice these consolidations here. I would like to see that consolidation here. And if it does, yes, we will all get a buy setup. Now, the buy setup is not going to go in a straight line. You notice? They don't go in a straight line. This one did not come down in a straight line. This one will not go up in a straight line. So they might do this, pull back here, go there, pull back there, but they're expecting to come and break that up. And what structure it makes as it go up will tell us whether it's going to continue to go up or whether that is a big correction for downside. So next week, we'll be ready for that. Start looking for upside. If this structure here, if this one, rather than making a consolidation for upside, come back here, go back there and come, you will get one more down. It means this is not over and they can get to the 270. They can get to the 618, but they will still go back up. So is there one more downside here? Right now, I think it's less likely until we see what this does. But if this makes a correction, you're definitely going up. So you just have to wait for that setup. Pum did nothing, did exactly as we thought it should do. But what we thought, remember it was here, and we thought this was going to come down very sharp like this did. So we sold it, and the stop was above here, and it went up back. Those of my traders who took it out did well. They got out for some profit and sell back at the top there again. Those who didn't take it out, they had a chance to get out when it came back and retested low. Because as you can see, it's in a consolidation. And if it is in a consolidation, there's one more up. At least one more up. Now, let's look at a bigger picture. Can this be one that is going to make a bigger up? Which means, is this going to retest this stop? Are we going to have a move that will be like that? That is possible. Not necessarily, but possible. Because remember what I was telling you, if when you were looking at this down move, I want you to go back to that webinar and listen. Like some of you said, you study it, so you learn patterns. If you go back and study that webinar, you would hear me say, if this is likely a leading diagonal, they're going to come to break out of this structure and then drop very hard. Now, we don't know that this is a leading diagonal. There's a confusion of whether that's a leading diagonal or not because of the way leading diagonal patterns develop as WXY patterns develop. Right, as corrective structures. They look very much like corrective structures. So if it is not, then what we're likely going to see is if this was a corrective structure downside, then this is going to go back up here. Right? Now, you don't have to worry which is it. It doesn't, right now, that's for analysis purpose. In terms of trading, you don't care if it's any of the two. You want this trade up now. And if this trade turns out to be that trade, congratulations. Remember, you're in the buy. You just got lucky because you're in the right side of the trade. See? So you will take the buy. If you're not that lucky and it doesn't go that far, it comes here, stop there, you realize it's not going more. We will figure out that when that happens. It starts to reverse. You got out of the trade. You took small profit. You wait for this. It makes a correction and start to go down. You do not miss that trade to the downside. All of that could happen in a week. So next week, two things we're going to have. Either this thing is going up all the way or it's coming down. And all of that could happen in just a day, the turning point. But you take the buy, you move that to positive, you move it to break even, you move it to wherever you want, and then you watch it turn and you get in the trade. If it doesn't turn, good. You don't have to worry. You can go to sleep because you have a trade that you cannot lose on. See? That's the whole point. Bigger picture, even if they break this stop, they will come back down because this whole structure is a correction. This entire piece up is still looking like a corrective structure. So even if they break that top, when they break the top, you want to take profit if they do. Because after that, they will come back down. They will have to come back down for two reasons. Either to make a bigger correction and then continue up, or to literally go down. Because of this structure here. That's not the sharpest impulsive structure you've seen. It looks more like a corrective structure. So we will watch it. For the short move for this week coming, look for a buy setup. Be careful with the buy setup because if this just breaks this top, let me put this here. If you get in that buy, don't just buy it right now. Make sure you have a setup because when they break this top, I want you to be careful. Let me take out this one. If and when they break that top, they can complete the pattern and start reversing. Right? If and when they break this top, they can complete that pattern and start reversing. So here's what you will do. Right in here, if you get a flag, and you will likely get a flag like this or a flag like this or a flag, there are numerous here, right? If you get a flag like this, you buy it inside of the structure. And when they come and break that up, you make sure you put that in the profit. Because when they break this, two things are going to happen. They're going to take off or they're going to reverse. It will not stay very, it was not going to stay here very long. It's going to either take off in the news event or it's going to reverse in the news event. So you got to be ready for either. And that will actually tell you, are we going to have the big up move or the big down move? See, that's what wave analysis is in a very, that's like 1,000th of what you would learn in the trading room when you come with us in the course. How to actually read all these structures, understand what they're gonna do. Aussie, remember what I told you? You're gonna look at this as a running flat. From this point, we've been telling you that we might eventually look at this as a running flat to come back and retest this low. Well, prove us correct. Wave patterns work? Of course they do. What is all of this? A big corrective structure. You can see that, right? If this was a 60-minute or a 15-minute chart, you would all be looking for a sell here, right? If this chart was a 60-minute chart, you would say, guys, that's a wonderful sell. Don't miss it, right? But what we said to you last week, watch this chart here. This thing might turn out to just up move, might turn out to be a running flat in the middle to come down. Here you got it, right? See? They work. Remember, when I get that forecast wrong, it's not because patterns don't work. It's because the information I had, I made a forecast based on what I had, and I was wrong about that specific pattern that I thought was going to happen. Sometimes I do get it wrong. Not that often, I have to be honest, not that often, but sometimes I think I'm going to see this pattern and that pattern doesn't play out. Most times they do play out exactly. As you get better at it, as you get more experience and you keep learning it, you get very good at it, at figuring out what the pattern is going to be. You just get more experience, that's all. It's not magical, is it? You got more experience, you learn it, and you figure out it's going to go. Well, watch it when it comes to the trend line. If they pull back for a correction, sell again, right? Because when they come to the trend line, then they will tell us two things. This pattern is complete. Is that a complete pattern to go down? As it stands right now, it could be a complete pattern. Or they're making a much more complex pattern. They're probably going to go back up, come back down, and then go. They could do something like this here and then still make one more high. That is just analysis. You don't need to know that. What you need to do for this week is that if they make any corrections, you sell. Watch them when they break the low. Breaking lows are always completing a pattern. They don't have to get to the trend line, right? So it's either going to reverse from here up, or it's going to make corrections, drop some more, and then go up. This will have to finish at some point. CAD, where is my New Zealand chart? Good. So let's go back to the CAD and remind you what we were saying. Remember when this was going down? We said we don't think that's all the correction. They have to come to retest this top. Well, they just did. They just retest the top. That's what we were saying all the time. You were buying, and yet last week when this was looking like it's going to come down, I said they have to go retest the top one more time because this is a corrective structure. That was absolutely clear to us, that retesting that top one more time is going to happen. Well, now guess what? It's over. So now they have to tell us two things. Let me go back to the daily. And let me put it to the weekly for some. No, the daily would be okay. They have to tell us two things right now. One, is this a flat and you're going up? Or two, is this a flat and you're going down? See? Your call. Which you think it is? I am more inclined that there's one more impulse down. Actually, there are two more impulses down. So I'm inclined to think they're going to do this. They're going to probably correct here, and they're going to do this, and then they're going to go up. So I'm inclined with the downside. I could be wrong on that because I don't trade my inclination. I don't trade my, my personal bias. I wait for the chart to tell me what it's going to do, right? We waited for it to show us the upside, we bought. Now we're looking for, show me that you're about to turn or you're going to break out of this structure, and then we will buy. So right now, I am not in any buy or sells, and you shouldn't be. You should get out of any trade you're in. If you're in the buy, you want to move your stop very, very tight if you don't want to get out of it. Two things we want to see. We want to see a sharp move, a correction, and then we will start the selling process. We want to see a correction here, and then we will buy again. We want to see a big correction, or a small correction. Small correction, it's a short-term trade, you take profit. Big correction, you stay with that trade and put it to break even. Let's see. This week they'll tell us. two things, the two things you're going to be looking for, right? You're either looking for a big sideways move and then you buy, or a reversal and you sell. Either way, you have to know what those patterns look for, because now is the time they have to tell us which of those two they're doing. Let me put the New Zealand here. We need to look at New Zealand. Still in that correction, sideways move, right? It still is possible it's going to make one more up, right? We were thinking this is the one it's going to go, but then they started to show us that it's not going active. They broke the trend line. Come here, they'll retest this low, and I still think this one will go back one more here. We're still in that sideways move. So you're not buying right now, but if you're not selling all. If you're in this sell, you got to move your stops to take profit, because this is about all they may go. If they make a correction here and it's a corrective structure, you sell this down. Once it breaks this low, take profit. Move your stop before they break the low, but once they break the low, take profit, because there's a good chance that this sideways move might have more into it. It's not over as yet, right? Swiss, up as we expected, nothing new, right? Remember I said watch the Swiss, we were expecting this to go up some more. I think they're going to continue to go up more. At some point, they're going to make a deep correction, because they always do. Right, to see this one went up, made very deep, broke the low, then went up back as a big expanding flat, put it to the 4 hour. I think right now we might start to see some downside. So the only question we have, will this move actually get all the way to the top there, right? Last week we were saying we were expecting it to go one more. It went one more. Now the question is, are they going to go all the way to the top there? Or is it going to come down from this point, making this wave a more extended wave? Go back to the 4 hour. And now we will see what it's telling us right now. Take all of this out. If this is all the upside, wait for them to make a sharp move down, break the structure, make a flag, and then we will sell it to retest the low. If they just pull back here, go back up and start to make deeper corrections in here, it's one more to the trend line. So right now, you probably don't want to trade this pair, because there is nothing to trade there. The CAD doesn't have a trade. The Swiss doesn't have a trade. The Pong has a good trade setup if you want. And I think one more we were looking at that has good trade setups in them. Yen, it didn't make a new low, but it goes sideways. It didn't go up as we expected it very fast. It turns out that might be another running flat, this piece in the middle here. We were aware of that, and it's coming down. I still expect them to tag the low before they go back up. I'm still expecting this to happen. It might not happen, but I'm looking at it that it's possible they're going to tag the low. The daily structure is not changed because it hasn't gone anywhere. It just pretty much stuck right there. So this daily ABC is still intact in this case. 1, 2, 3. We're still expecting that trade up, right? So something you need to take notice of here. We're expecting CAD to go down, but we were expecting the yen to go up. Notice that, right? We're expecting yen to make an up move. And at the same time, we're saying CAD looks like it's going to make a down move. The US CAD and the US yen. They're supposed to be going in the same direction if it's a US dollar movement. If this is going to go up and CAD is going to go down, then the movement will not be based on the US dollar. It is likely going to be based on the value of the Canadian dollar and the value of the yen. And they can go in opposite direction. If you don't believe they can go in opposite direction, you have to look at the CAD-yen pair. And as you see, this move happens because CAD was going up and yen was going down. So if we were expecting this to go back to the top there, the opposite has to happen. CAD has to go down and yen has to go up. And that will give you this move. So if you see that happening, if you see the yen going up and the CAD going down, you definitely want to look at this pair. And potentially this pair could go back one more up. Right? It's potentially this pair could go back one more up. So keep your eyes on those two. Let's go. Silver. We're still expecting the down move. It didn't move very much. It moved very slow. You can see that you had a little movement there, very little movement. But it looks like they're going to go. We had that flat in the middle, another running flat. I think you guys are starting to recognize this running flat already. And we were expecting this to go. So wait for a little consolidation. If you're not in the trade, wait for consolidation and sell. I still think they're going to go down. I don't see an upside structure right now on this one. Maybe when they break this low. When they break that low. If they do this and this one does not go as aggressive as we'd expect it to go, then we will look for one more up. But I still think this area is very likely to be tagged, and that's where you start buying, right? So the sell setups were okay. They work well. Gold also went down. Gold also, we're looking at the structure, and I don't think it's going to go very far. We were looking for gold to go break this level. Break this structure, come to about this low, right? Which means we're expecting gold from this point, we're expecting it to do that. And it's going, but it's going very slow. And because of the nature of how it's going, I think it will stop somewhere here and go back one more up. We will still get this downside. But we might be looking at it running or expanding flat in the middle here, which means they will break this top. Initially, I didn't think they would break the top because the pattern was looking really nice for downside. But then they start going very slow, and that's more inclined. This piece looks more like a corrective structure for one more up. So watch it when it breaks this low. They can go one more up, and then that down move starts. Right? It doesn't exclude the 1, 2, 3. All it tells us is that the pattern you're looking at is not the pattern that you will see. It's not going to be a regular flat. It is going to be very likely a running flat. Now, how high can this go before they actually come down? Which means next week you see me say they're going to go there, and then they go back up one more, and then they come back here, and they go back up one more, and they come here and go back up one more. How high you think this can go before you get this? Something like this. And then you do get that one more down, but it goes something like this. And then you get this move. Instead of getting it from here, you get it from here. Right? So if you're not my students, okay, good. Somebody already answered my question. You guys are getting ahead of me. I was just going to ask which pair had that pattern. You see, and Antonio is not in my group, just so you know, right? You see how good you guys are getting? Exactly the Euros. That's exactly the one I was going to show you, right? This is the one. We've seen that pattern before. You guys are getting really good, right? See? So can it do that? Can that pair repeat this pattern instead of the one we're looking for, right? See now? See? That's the whole point of you being here. I always stressed it. People ask me why you do the free webinars. I said because there are 6,000 people who watch them. And there's only 700 people in my group. That means 5,300 people, or about 6,000, I should say, because 6,700 sometimes watch it. There are about 6,000 people there who are not in my course, and they still need help. And that is why I do these webinars. For whatever reason, financially or other, they cannot take the course, and they still need the help. And that's the whole purpose of these webinars. That is why I would be happy if you guys can help share the link, because there's a next 8 million people out there who needs these courses. Of the 9 million traders out there, there's the next 8 million who probably need to look at these courses so that they can learn. If you guys help share it, it will be great. Somebody's going to say thank you. Somebody will say thank you to you for helping them, right? So you see, that's what we're talking about. You're learning patterns. You're understanding what we look at. You understand on the daily basis. When I come in a weekly and I said I expected to do this, and the next by the midweek we realize it's changing. In our group, we would say, guys, this is a changing pattern. You will only get that information at the end of the week for the next week. So we see changing patterns come. I don't know which of those patterns is going to make, but during the week, as we follow it day by day, we can tell you when this is going to turn to the upside, right? We see that on a daily basis. Time does not permit me to do a daily webinar for everybody. If I had enough time to do that, I would willingly do it. But I have to pay more attention to the people who pay me for that service, right? It's free for them as well, but they paid for it, so they have to get the extra benefit of having that daily. Because we do more than just we actually look at the patterns themselves in the daily webinar. Not just the sense of direction it should go, but I will explain to them what pattern that is and why that pattern is going to behave this way. So they were going to get a little more in-depth knowledge that we cannot discuss here. Right? See that? Let's go. Euro Oz, you already know what to do. It came down very sharp. We were expecting this. We knew this one was going to go back up because it was two sharp waves, but I didn't think it's going to come back to retest the top. But we knew this one was going to go back up. I thought they'll just test this level and make more corrections here. They're actually about to test the top. Will they break the top? It doesn't matter if they break the top right now, because regardless of whether they break that top or not, they're coming back down. This would come back down to retest this level. And there's a simple reason for that. Two waves is not a corrective structure. Minimum in a corrective structure you need is 1, 2, 3. Any corrective structure, minimum amount, you'll need that. So if we're making a correction to go up, you see this correction, that's a correction to go up. This is a correction to go up. Look at the waves. 1, 2, 3. In here, this is a more complex one that has minimum 3, but it has more complex in every one of the 3. So we're not going to go into details of that. This is 1, that is 2, this is not over. This thing could go there, it's coming back here. So what would you do in a trade like this? If you have no experience, don't try to buy into it. Wait for a deep pullback and then buy. If it's making 1, 2, 3 here, they'll come back here and then go. We don't know what the pattern is going to be here because we only have 2 pieces. And let me show you, when you have 2 pieces, you sometimes don't know what the pattern is going to be. So let's go with this. I'm just going to show you guys, give you a little education. So let's look at this piece. You have 1 and you have 1 down. You don't know what's going to happen next, but you will make an assumption that it's going to make 2. It's going to come for 3, and then it's going to go up. See that piece there? And if you pull it back now, you'll see that's exactly what it did. It made the 2, it came for the 3, and then it goes up. That will always be the forecast. It's the simplest pattern that any chart makes. So when you're making a forecast, you always go with the simplest pattern. 60% of 70% of the time, they do not do that. So you would say, well, 60% of 70% of your forecast is wrong because they don't make a simple pattern. No, that's 60% of 70% of the time. We have to know all the other patterns to know which one it's making. So if you ask me to do a forecast and you see when people are posting things all over the place, and people who like to try to teach you Elliott wave without knowing it themselves, they're going to say, oh, I read the book. It make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's going to make A, B, C, and then continue to go up. And I'm like, you show me any chart that has that pattern. Perfect. And I'm still to find one. With all my experience and all the time I spend in the charts, and nobody in this room has spent that amount of time that I spend in the chart, because until now, for the last 4 years, I spend 10 to 12 hours a day in the chart, and I still do that on a daily basis now. And I'm still to find a perfect pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. And none of you study the charts the way I study it, even now on a daily basis. None of you spend that amount of time studying these charts, all the charts, over and over and over, on all time frames, starting from the yearly, starting from 1953. That's the data. That's the earliest data we can find. We study all, and I'm still to find a perfect pattern like that. Doesn't exist. What that means, you wouldn't find it. But that doesn't negate the theory or doesn't negate what we're looking for. But what I'm saying is they're not that simple. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not that simple. So all the people who are Elliott wavers, don't come trolling me, but I don't have an idea what I'm doing. Because then I'll pick you up on a challenge and put you in a webinar side by side with me. And let's go at it if you want. So before you go write crazy stuff on this webinar itself, think. If you really want to get in a webinar with me, one-on-one, and let's show the patterns, and you show me if you're going to see that, and then I'll show you where you're wrong. If you don't want that, then think before you write, because I'm telling you about work that I've done. I'm not a fanatical person. I study things. And I like to dispute theories. I like to say that this thing might not be right. Maybe there's something missing. Let me look for it. I'm not fanatical. I'm not one of those people, hey, I'm an elite wave and you have to get this. This is like the Bible or the religious book. Let me don't use any specific religious book. This is like a holy book. It has to happen, right? It doesn't. You don't know how complex these things are, and they're very complex. The basis of the theory is the same. You're going to have an impulse. You're going to have a correction. The whole idea as to why that happens is very, very simple. You cannot keep buying forever. You cannot keep selling forever. So at some point, the buying has to stop. It has to go back into consolidation, and then you can continue to buy. At some point, the selling has to stop. It has to go back into consolidation, and then you'll continue to sell. Nothing can happen forever in one direction. That's just the basics. Forget about the reasons for it, whether it's a psychology of the market, whether it's something bigger than that, it doesn't matter. You think of simple things. Nobody can keep buying forever. It cannot happen. At some point, that buying stops and it comes back. Remember the Bitcoin? When it was 10,000 and then 20,000 and everybody think it's going to 100,000. And I said, no, guys, it's not going to happen. It never happened. And it will never happen. It never happened. From 1953 to now, all the charts I've studied, that never happened. And that will never, ever happen. At least, maybe not in our lifetime, where you just keep buying. They will always correct. Now, if you know that, you just have to study the corrections, understand when you're getting your next impulse. It's that simple. Let's make it as simple as possible. Don't complicate it with anything else. Bitcoin has dropped into consolidation. You want to know when you should buy Bitcoin again? Long-term, not short-term, within the corrections. Within the corrections, you can buy and sell, buy and sell. You'll probably be there for a year or 2 or 3 years, maybe even 5 years. We have looked at the pound cat correction that spent 4 years before it went up back. 3 or 4 years before it went up back. Which is crazy, right? For a pair to be consolidating for 3 years. That's okay. It happens. So learn these stuff. These stuffs are real. You just got to learn to do it the correct way. Not be fanatical, not be, crazy about it. Understanding it from the point of view of knowledge. And once you do that, when you study it, you test it, you back test it, you test it again, you forward test it, and then you start understanding how it behaves. And then you get a good grip of it. And that's what we do in our trading daily. That's what we do in our courses. That's what we do in our group. Yes, we do it from 1953. You'd be surprised. We study those charts. So watch this stuff. If you want to learn something, you got to study history. You want to know things, you got to study how the past has been, what has been there, how it works. What were the movements? And when you look at, are we seeing similar movements? Are there changing movements? All of that. So this will come back though. But how high would it go for? Normally, they don't break these stops very high. If they make, even expanding regular. I don't think this pattern is making one of those extreme running flats, because those extreme running flats normally start by going like this. They don't start with a sharp move in the middle. So if this is going to be an expanding flat, it's going to be one of those standard expanding flat. Euro New Zealand, same here. This was going up. We said, watch it. It's going to, and this did not break the top. This is not going to break the top. This is likely going to go down without breaking that top. So you can expect this to probably go down back here without breaking the top. We wanted that to go break the top. It broke the top. We wanted it to drop. It dropped. We want to see a correction here. The only thing you have to be careful of is this could correct here longer. Come back here, go back there, come back here. Just like this piece, how long it's correcting within that impulse. This could correct here a longer time and then drop. So you're still expecting this move to go down. What is going to change anything in this move is it, let's see how this comes here. And then we will tell you whether there is one more up in this piece before this comes down. So we're going to be looking for a sell setup this week. And let's see if that happens. EuroCAD broke the top. We did not expect this to break the top. Same here. Now that it has broken the top, there's only one information new that it has given us. That we are going to have one more high. That's it. The only information we've learned from this is that when this comes back here, we're going to get one more high before they go down. If they hadn't broken the top, we could have expected this to go down. But now that they broke the top, we're going to have a consolidation and one more up. So look for sell setups and watch how those sell setups behaved, because they might or might not break the low. They don't have to break the low anymore. They just need to come down somewhat and go back up for a high. That is the new information we got. See? So let's wait and see. Look for sell setups, short-term sell setups. Euro Chief, this one has not broken the top. And that means this one could actually come down. How low it's going to go, we don't know. But there is, if all the rest are showing us one more up, then we believe this one will probably give us one more up too. So when this comes here, watch how this move goes. You're looking for the sell and watch how it goes and how far it goes. Follow it. It could come all the way to this level, or they could turn from right here and go back up for one more high. It's possible if we look at the structure as a very, very big running flat. We're not looking at it that way, but we're looking at the possibility. So which means if you get this sell, you should take it. Take this sell and watch this trade. Don't take it off. If I get into that sell, I'll not take it off. I'll take the break-even trade, which means I don't mind giving up 100 pips on this, right? I'll put it to break even and leave it, because there's a good chance that that 100 pips drop to be 500 pips and maybe even 1,000 pips or more. But if it goes back up, you rather get a break-even trade and then you would look for the buy. So what you would do is you move it into positive, but you will not take it off because it's unclear as to which direction it's potentially going to go. Euro yen, consolidating in here. And we think this consolidation will probably give us one more up. We don't see this consolidation as the start of the big move to the downside. Well, because of the way that pattern behaves, we don't think that pattern is very clearly a downside pattern. So this is a if-ish one, which means it's not a very complete pattern. It's part of a complete pattern. So you're going to watch this to the upside, look for the buy setups. But what you would have to do is be careful with this buy setup, because if they go like this and you get in the buy and they only do something like this, put it to break even and see whether they look like they want to go down back more. I think they'll retest the top, make a 1, 2, 3, and then we will see what that pattern is. All right, so we're looking for upside on this one. Euro pound came down to this trend line. Remember, I said the trend line itself is not important. It's not about breaking it or not. It did exactly what we wanted to do. And that is because we were looking for a complete pattern. So we are almost getting a complete pattern. And to have a fully complete pattern now, I believe we need one more upside. Now, from where we get that upside, we don't know. I don't think this pattern is a complete pattern to go down. So I'm expecting it anywhere in here, they can stop and make that one more up before they go down. If we're going to have a complete pattern here, the pattern we thought we were looking for, they will have to come and break this top. If that's not the case, then we have to relook at what that pattern is in there. As of now, with the information we have, we're looking at it as a 1, 2, and a possible 3. A more complex 1, a more complex 2, and a more complex 3. We'll see. I don't think they ended it there. It doesn't look, the middle of it doesn't look like the way we would end, like a flat that would end that structure in a 1, 2, 3 pattern. So if you were in sells, I hope you've moved your stop or got out of them. Most of my traders are out to get out of the sells. It doesn't matter if it goes lower. You want to get out now because they could have spiked it up. So what you're going to do is we're going to wait. If this makes correction, and it will have to make correction like this, for example, you sell. Take profit. Every trade you sell now, you take profit until it really moves. If it makes a very sharp move, well, good for you. If that doesn't happen, we can wait to see whether we're going to get a reversal, a sharp reversal, a pullback, and then we'll start to buy it up to this top. Because I still think this is more of a 1, 2, 3 there. This is a 1, 2, 3, and that means we're looking for 1, 2, 3. So let's see. Are we correct about that, or we made a mistake? So far, it's looking good. It's doing what we want every step of it. It just needs to do one more, and then we're all lined up. Pangos, this one was a surprise because we didn't think they were going to break that up. We were looking at this more as a 1, a 2, and this should come down here. But See what happened? They just came to this level and went up, making a contracting flat. That is still part of this move. So now that they've broken the top twice, what would the structure be? I think a lot of you are asking me, what is the structure going to be now? We're still looking at this whole piece as the B wave. We thought it ended here. They made a contracting flat in here. And you remember when this was going messy, it started to tell us that something was not right because it's not going down. Right? And when they're not going down, they're likely consolidating for an upside. They made one more up. How far would this go? I don't think it's going to go very far, but they could get to about a 270, which means a little more up. 270 of this move. And then we're going to watch for this move down. Either they make another correction and go, which means we'll start to look at one of those expanding flats, or they actually drop back to this level. Now that they've broken that top, it's a likelihood we're going to see 1, 2, 3, and then one more up. Every time they break the top, they change the structure. So we got 1, we could get 2. How far this ends, we will see. And then we could get 3, and then we get one more up. We're looking at this 1, 2, 3, something like that. Actually, the 2 is here. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. See that running flat? That's a running flat where they broke the top 2. You can see the pattern. Come on. They broke the top and then came back down. So we were expecting this to behave the same way. This one was more like this piece. 1, 2, 3. This one is 1, 2, and we're getting that third part. So this would have to come back down someplace. Probably make a running flat like this one. And then we're going to get one more up. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should end the structure for downside. Pretty easy, right? It's easy when you do it like this. It's when you come in here and we were getting all the headaches. In this piece here, we thought we were going to get 1, that would be 2, and this is coming down for the third one. Well, it didn't come down for the third one, but I think one of my traders had about 6 or 7 break-even trades in this. Every time he sells, he gets break-even, right? So he got a lot of break-even trades in this, and I think he got the last break-even trade selling this piece, and that became a break-even for him, right? Part of trading, you expect it to go, it's not going. They did come down though. I think this piece, some traders took profit because this piece went quite a lot. This last piece here, we thought this piece was going to be the final one that actually drop it, and it didn't. They didn't even break the low, which makes this a contracting flat for the upside. And the hardest pattern for you to forecast or for you to even trade would be a contracting flat. You can ask all my traders, this is the worst pattern. This is our worst nightmare, when it makes a contracting flat, when it doesn't break this low. Because until it breaks the low, we are not looking for the upside. And we will continue not to look for the upside until it breaks the low. Because the contracting flat is not the most common pattern. And if you try to trade it, any other pattern as a contracting flat, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You will start to buy before it breaks the low, and that is dangerous because the most common one you have is the regular flat, where they break the low and then they start to go back up. So you will only get into contracting flat if you get a flag, like if this one had made a corrective structure here, then we will get into that one. If they made a corrective structure anyway here, you'll get, otherwise that you're going to miss that move. But for those of you who are trading it, and this is a dangerous thing traders are doing, if you are selling this thing here and it's coming down like this, don't leave anything in hopes. Put it to break even. Because traders wrote me who were not in my group and they sold it there and they didn't put it to break even. And now they were saying, hey, break the top. You didn't say it was going to break the top. What should we do? I'm like, what do you mean what did you do? Where is your stop? And none of the traders who wrote me had a stop. So I'm like, why not? How did you calculate your risk in that trade? Because to calculate your risk on any trade, you need to know where you're going to exit the trade. That's the only way you know how much you're risking in a trade. Where would you exit? Would you exit the trade here? Would you exit the trade here? Would you exit the trade at this level? You need to know where you're going to exit the trade. That's the only way you can say, hey, well, I'm risking 1% or 2% or 3%. If you're not putting a stop, you're risking your entire account on a single trade. That's what you need to know. So if you don't have enough experience, you need to put a stop there. because now you are risking your entire account in that trade. And that's not a way to trade. I don't think anybody wants to risk their entire account in a single trade. That is disaster. So if you're in that trade and you're one of the 3 persons who wrote me about it, wait for this thing to pull back. And if you're lucky, it pulls back deep. If you're lucky, it even starts coming down from there. But luck is not a strategy to trade. Like I said, if you're lucky, this thing could turn from here and go down. They don't have to go higher. If you're so lucky, they might even make a deep correction and then go more. If you get this or you get this, consider yourself lucky. You need to get out of the trade. Even if you get this and it comes here, get out of the trade, because they will make a correction again before they drop and you will get a better entry for a sell. So let's hope you got lucky. It depends how much you're able to pray. And, make sure you're praying at the hours when it's not busy, right? Like you pray, I don't know, find a time when everybody is asleep and you start praying so you get more attention. If you pray when everybody is awake, God is going to divide the attention. You probably don't get that one, right? So start praying right now. Pray the whole day, actually. Don't do that again. So that you don't have to pray and beg not to do it, put the stop on. Know how much you're risking in a trade. Please do that. Don't do those risky things, guys. Because as you see, the patterns are there. It's not that the patterns, sometimes we don't see that contracting flat coming, because we will never forecast for the contracting flat. You would hear me say they have to break the low first. We'll always expect them to break the low. These are rare cases where they don't break the low. So don't put all your money on one trade. If you lose one trade and you lose 1%, you can go to sleep. It's easy to go to sleep if you're losing only 1 or 2% on a trade. You have enough money to trade the next day, right? So please do that. Pound New Zealand. This one, we expected this one to go up. This was a buy setup. So I don't know how many of you got that buy. This was pretty clear to us. If the pound Oz was not clear, this was pretty clear. This has to go back up. And now the only question we have on this one is whether they're going to break this top, because we still expect them to break that top. Now, this pattern is completed. You can see 1, 2, 3, it's completed. They also break that top. So this pattern might have been completed here with this as a contracting flat in the middle. That means we have 1, 2, 3. This pattern here is completed. And if that pattern is complete, then they should come back here. Break this low. Again, you hear me say break that low. Not necessarily that they're going to break the low. And then go back up to complete this pattern here. Let me draw it in a different color. 1, 2, 3. And we're not expecting them to break that low, because if they break that top, that changes the structure. So watch for this trade from here, what it does. If it makes that down move, those of you who are in the pound Oz will be very, very lucky, because you might get that pound Oz to come down. At this point, if you took that buy, take profit or move stops, because they can reverse or they can start to do this. And if they make another correction like this, well, you're going to go test that top. That would mean this pattern here is all. This one would be completed and we're going to go down. I think they're going to retest the low and then go back up, because this is a very, 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 very complicated correction in the middle there. As far as I see, they're likely going to come back, retest this low, and then go back up. It will get more complicated, put it that way. So on the 1 hour, what you'll be looking for is if you get a reversal. This one was actually an easy one to trade, right? You had the flag there, you had a flag here. So if they make another flag here, look for the sell setup to retest this low and take profit. Don't keep the trade. If they make this and they come here and they just come to this level, put that to break even, they start to go back, buy the breakout and watch to retest that top and take profit. Don't keep the trade. So either way you get, first you will likely get the downside and then the upside. Pound CAD. This one was easy, right? This one wasn't hard. They did make a new top and they give you a set. And same thing here, take profit. If you get another correction here and they go one more up, take profit. Look for reversals. Look for the reversals. It's already clear that they are going to reverse very soon, but they can push a little more up and a little more up before they reverse. So if you get a flag like that, you buy. You get a flag, you buy. take profit. If you bought this one, you should take profit. Wait for another one, take profit. You're at the top and you're at the daily top. How much more they can go in that top? I don't know. They can keep pushing this, but this thing here, this 1, 2, 3 will come down. So it's from which point, that's the only question, at which point they will stop and come down. You don't need to know that. You take every trade one at a time to the upside, but when they start to drop, when you get that sell setup, every sell setup is a must sell, put to break even. Every buy setup is a must buy, take profit. That's it. Every buy setup, you take profit. Immediately, take profit when it hits your target, where you think that target is. Take profit. But every sell you get, you can put to break even. Let the sells be break even. Because one of those sells is going to give you a really sharp drop. So you're going to keep it. But the upside, there is no very sharp spike to come because you already spiked to the top. You're at the top. So if you're selling from the top, you can put the break even, take the break even trade. Let's give up 20, 30, 40, even 100 pips, take the break even trade. But the buys, if you get the buys, take profit, right? On any time frame you trade. If you trade in the 4 hour, do it in the 4 hour. If you trade in the 1 hour, do it in the 1 hour. It's the same thing, except that it takes longer to make the structure you're looking. If you're looking at 60-minute structure, you may get 2 or 3 trades on a 60-minute before you get a 4 hour trade. But when you do trade in the 4 hour and you take a 4 hour trade, you don't have to look at the charts until the next day. It's the same thing, just different trade setups with different risk management and different money management and everything. Right? It doesn't matter time frame. Time frame is irrelevant to the trading strategy, to what the chart is doing. Fund Chief, same here. We're expecting this to go down. At least make a correction to continue to go up. But it's not. So the question is, are we going to break this top? If we're going to break the top, which part of this trade is the correction? Right? This was the big correction. You can see it here, right? I mean, you can see this big correction here. Then you got that move. So the question is, are we looking at this as some kind of a correction, or will this come back here and then go? This could be the bigger correction, right? That whole piece in there. So if they're going to make one more impulse up, I'm still expecting this to come down some more, because I don't see this as equal to this. They're not equal. So I wouldn't be surprised if this turned out to be this piece. You see they spike this up and then come back. So something like this, spike it up, I can still expect them to come back here. Let's look at the 1 hour. And then the 1 hour, you're going to get a very short-term sell setup. The break of this will give you a trade back to this level. If you take that trade, put it to break even. If this breaks, you get this retest of the low. If it doesn't break, they'll go up one more. Make a flat, probably go up one more. If you take a sell here, put that to break even. They go back one more. And they can do this for a while. If they do that all the way to the top here, you're going to get this trade. If this continues to go up the way it's going, you're going to get a very sharp fall. These patterns do that. I think all of you remember the one that actually did that. And I can show you it so that you can remind yourself of that one. When they make patterns like that, that's how they behave. When you make patterns like this, going down, drop, pull back, drop, pull back, drop, pull back, drop, you get this trade. Remember that? And the Euro Swiss as well was the same thing. When they do those patterns, you get that trade. So you actually want that trade. It is good to see. When they do it here, they did one more. I can show you one more right than this one. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was not so much this one here. I think this was the famous one. This was the one that everybody remember, right? Where's the charts? When they do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, they do that. And you want that trade. This was the one with the trolls. The famous one where we were waiting for the breakout, waiting for the breakout, waiting for the breakout. And all of this, the trolls was like, hey, this thing is never going to break. And then it broke and it missed it all, right? So when you see that pattern, oh, it's there now, good. When you see that pattern, you know you're going to get a sharp move up. So it's repeating itself, and it repeats itself over and over all the time. So if you know that, well, hey, Two of them you remember, right? You remember the pound yen, and you remember the euro Swiss, and both break. So 2 out of 2 broke. 1 or 2 might not do that, but if it's 2 out of 10 doesn't do it, then you want to trade the 8 that does it. And the 2 out of 10 that don't do it, they will likely give you a good trade. Don't worry, right? So we're expecting pound yen to make one more up. Remember, I said if you take that trade to the upside, be careful, they will correct. Well, they made a deep correction here. They give you that trade, and then they made a deep correction. And this correction coming down very nicely. I think you're going to get a drop here. I think you could start to do this again, and then we will get one spike up. Watch for that trade, right? Likely do this and spike up. Watch for this trade. Now, can this come down some more? Do you want to trade that to the downside? That's a short-term trade if you want. This looks like it's going to come down. You probably get a short-term trade. It pull back again, give you another short-term trade. You can trade those 30, 20, 30 pips if you want. And then when it breaks, you want to be in the big trade to the upside. Rare cases, they really fall from here. I don't think this is one of those cases because this is coming down really slow, right? When they broke the structure, if they were going to fall, they were supposed to really fall hard. So you can take these short sell. I don't know if this is one of the 2 cases where they fall hard. Well, you're lucky. So you take the sell, put it to break even. Until it breaks the structure, then you start buying. Aussie CAD. Stay out of this one. But it's at a good point. Here's where forecasting is good, but trading can be difficult. I don't know if you want to go back. Any one of you want to go back. Find this date here on my webinar. Go back to that, and you will hear me say we were expecting this to do 1, 2, 3, come back to this level, and close to that level, and then we're going to expect this to move down because we're looking at this pattern. 1, 2, 3, and we actually bought this. You wouldn't believe a lot of my traders bought this. You know what happened to them? They got break even. It was going up and then it dropped, took them out. They bought somewhere in here, and then this one came back and took them out, break even, and we stopped trading it. We were like, guys, this is trouble. Just leave it. You're getting break-even trade for no reasons all the time, right? And it was consolidating here. So we thought you're going to get 1, 2, 3, and then we'll see whether we want to buy it. And it just took off. So the forecast is absolutely correct. But you couldn't trade it. Not that you couldn't. You could trade it, but you're just getting break-even trades. It's doing what we want it to do. You just don't get proper trades into it. You don't get to take the profit. You don't get to keep it to that level, right? And that happens sometime when you're in a corrective structure like this is. But if you get the sell, and you should take the sell, if this makes a correction here and you get that sell, you're going to get this trade. You rarely get taken out of the impulses. This is more of an impulse, but a short impulse within a correction. But this is going to be a big impulse. So if you get that trade, this would be a wonderful trade. And I doubt if you put that to break in, you will get taken out of it. So if they do make that correction there, that will probably take a day or 2. If they make a correction there, that would be an amazing trade to the downside. And you should trade it. Because this did exactly what we wanted it to do. And the only thing we got out of it is 2 break-even trades. Trading, you can't fight that, right? You can't do anything about that. We will still put it to break-even. In this case, again, if you take that, you will still put it to break-even. Remember what I was telling you about the pound loss? Even though you think it's going to do that, and you have this kind of a setup, put it to break even when you're in that much profit. Because there is no guarantee. We had no guarantee that this thing was going to go down from there. This could have been the pattern. 1, 2, 3. And they go down from there. There is no rule as to how far this impulse has to go. We always make assessment that it should have a similarities of the impulses, and that is why we thought it will get to this level. But they don't always do that. So what you do is you take protective measures and you put it into break even. If you're right, you get that trade perfect. If it didn't go your way, well, you survive. You live with a break-even trade. You could always live with a break-even trade. You still have your capital to trade the next day. Right? That's the whole point. Aussie Swiss. This one is probably going to come to this low also, and you can see the way it's going, you're not going to get that trade. So watch this. This has a very similar structure to the one we just went through. You've got an impulse. You've got another impulse. You're getting a corrective structure down, and you're likely going to get another impulse. You're likely going to get that impulse. So when it's going to happen, we thought actually this one is the start of it. So if you got in that trade, what happened? You got break even. Because if you were keeping that trade to go here, you got break even. Can it turn from where it is and go right back up? Very likely, because there's, I don't know if you will see the pattern in there. I'm at the daily per 4 hour, you wouldn't see it. But if you go in 1 hour, you'll probably see that. See that pullback there? Now, I really don't think this is going to go break the low again. They can, but I don't think they will do it. But if they go break the low, wait for this. Trade it to the downside. When they break the low, take profit, because you're going to start to see this. So, which is it? This one here was a 1, 2, 3. So, we were thinking, okay, maybe they're going to go after they didn't stop at this level. They kept going, right? And then they just suddenly stopped. So this would be a good trade to the downside. And when they come to this low, take profit. Let's see if we get that trade. Wait for the correction. Aussie, New Zealand. This is 1, 2. Very complex. Don't trade it. I tell my traders, don't trade it. Just stay out of it. It's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. And every time you take a trade, you get break even. On the big picture, it looks nice. In the small picture, you move your stops. They make sharp moves and they take you out. This is a big mess on a 1 hour and a 4 hour, which means the corrective structures are very, very sharp, with a very sharp impulse, a correction, and another very sharp impulse. Very, not rare, but very sharp. You don't see that in a trending mode, but you see it in a corrective mode, right? And it's easy to see. So this one will probably come all the way here, but like this pattern here, I still think we're probably going to see a big correction somewhere in here before they come to this level and go back up. Right? They will actually be consolidating in here for like, I don't know, 3 years maybe. This is another punk cat one. Remember the punk cat with this move in 3 years sideways before they go? I think that's what we're going to be. And we're going to be like for 2, 3 years more here. How long are we in this one? This is what date? Let's look at the date. That's 7/15. This is already 3/18. So by 7/18, they might get to the bottom here, and then we'll start to look for the upside. Once they get here, we'll be interested. So I'm totally leaving this to itself. I still think they'll probably make a 3-wave here like this piece and then drop here. If we see that, we'll probably trade this down. But this one, we will get. So let's see if they give that 3-wave in the middle. Let's see if they make that pattern and drop. They will. They always do. Rarely you find the C wave is a very sharp move down. Right? If this one makes a very nice trade, the C wave is very often to repeat that pattern. Just like this one, whatever they made in there, they made some very complex pattern in there, right? So probably just leave it alone for a year and then we'll come back and trade it. We'll just look at it regularly to see what it's doing. The Aussie yen, instead of going up, start to drop again. We realize it's going to drop when we notice that this piece here is not going up as aggressive as we see it. Not a trade setup. I didn't think there was a trade to the downside, so very likely we missed that trade. There wasn't a setup to get in the trade, right? And I think when they break this low, we saw this piece coming because of how the change was going, but not a trade to the downside. I don't think we got a trade. So what we're going to do is when they break this low, we'll see whether that up move will start, because it's still likely that they're going to go back up. It's just they're extending this piece. They may just drop here, give you divergence, and then start to go back up. This one is likely going to come. Right, so we're looking for that trade up. For the sell, if you're going to sell this, you will wait for a correction. I would not be selling that until it makes a correction. Until this makes a correction here, you will not be selling, because if you do, they'll just drop to the bottom and then come back up. So either leave it or get a correction, because then that's like a day or two. All the yen pairs broke out or ready to go. I was in some of them. Got taken out for break even, and they're dropping again one more low. The one more low will not change the structure. See, they're not changing the structure by dropping one more low, because this will still go up, right? And they can actually go like this, do like this, do like, but they will still go up. That structure is not changing. It's just that this impulse is not over when we thought it's over. We thought it's over because we broke up, but they didn't, they didn't consolidate. They just took off and come back or straight back down. And that's okay. That's part of what you get when the patterns are changing. Right? New Zealand CAD. This didn't go anywhere. That wasn't a trade. So we just wait for this now. It's still consolidating. You can look for this trade. Maybe that will change in time. Depends on how this goes, and then you're still going to get one more up. That is not changing to downside. That's still upside. New Zealand Swiss. This is changing. It's dropping very sharp, right? So take this off. It's looking more like a downtrend. That's not a good trend line. It's looking more down. So this 1, 2, 3 here, and that sell setup turned out to be good because we were looking at that as a sell setup. And this, if you get a correction sell, if you get a correction sell, they will come to break this low. See, that's your 3 wave there. So this was a good one, and this still remains a good one. Look for that sell setup. CAD yen, another yen pair that went lower than we expected. This one broke out. Thought this was going to go wait for the consolidation. Never. That has not changed very much. The biggest structure is still intact. See? So if this is going to continue to go down, let's say this is going to be a bigger downside, that this is all the correction, it's over, and they're going down, they will have to make a correction like this and then go down. So at some point, you don't try to sell. If you're selling at the bottom, you get a 60-minute sell setup and you sell, take profit. Because they will, let me just show you that, how this will go down if they go down. See? You got corrections, you drop, you make corrections, you drop, you make corrections, you drop, you make corrections. We drop, we got to make that correction. Only then it will continue to go. They do that on the upside, right? They go up, they make corrections. See that up move corrections, some smaller corrections here, deeper corrections in here, and then go. So if this is going to go, it has to correct, right? I don't think it's going to go. Swiss yen, this will go. I can tell you one of them that I'm almost sure will go. This one is classical. We've seen this pattern quite often. This one is just like a regular flat. This one just needs to finish. So what they're going to do is they could drop this a little. Remember, this could go as a very lot more. It could go quite a lot more. We actually saw this as possible coming down. I didn't take the trade because I didn't think they were going to go far. If they make corrective structures like these, if they make small flags like that, you sell and take profit. Don't keep the trade, take the profit. You got 20 pips, 30 pips, 40 pips, take it. They make another correction drop, take the profit. They make another correction. Every drop is a sell with take profit, right? Any sell you get, you take profit. If you get the buy again, put it to break even. That buy was a break even. If you get a buy setup, put it to break even. Don't take the profit and the buys because the buy is potentially a big trade to the upside. A correction always have to be in the opposite side of the trend, or do flags exist? Keep that question. I'll answer it at the end of the webinar. If you guys stick around, I'll answer it. I'll keep the YouTube open for that one. That's an interesting question. CAD Swiss. Same here. This one went sharp, started to come back down. This one is at an interesting place in the weekly. That's a weekly chart. See? And I don't think, depending, remember the reason we're not making any forecasts on this is we don't know whether this was the low or whether this is the low, because in some charting package, this is the low, and in some, this is the low. And at least we had 3 charts that showed this is the low and 3 that showed 3 different feeds, right? Different, I'm not talking about just chart, different feeds that showed this is the low. And because of that, we don't know what to do with that. So we're staying out of it, but it most likely looked to us like this should make one more up. We'll have to just wait and see. Copper. Copper is going to go back up one more. It's coming down. They'll probably come tag this low here. probably get this to come down and tag this low and then go back up. The pattern is a simple one. It's not complex. It's something you can easily forecast, right? Up move, you're gonna get one more up move there. US oil was in consolidation. We spoke about it and it's still in consolidation. You can see the arrow, it's already following it. So once we saw that, we know we're gonna get one more here. How high would this one go? Normally we want them to break the top. If it's a contracting flat, it will not break the top. If it's a regular flat, it will break the top. If it's an expanding flat, it will break this top and then come down. We're still expecting 1, 2, 3. Right? So you can look for buy setups. I hope that buy setup is a good one to you, which means you get a running flat or an expanding flat, they come break this top. If it is not so kind to you, it is going to be a contracting flat and turn to the downside. So please use the stop and put it to break even. Because if this becomes a contracting flat, they will probably just go about this much and then start to fall. And then this pattern becomes a contracting flat. If it's a regular flat, they'll only break that top and then go down, which means, okay, you'll get some profit. If it becomes a running or expanding flat, they'll come here and then go down. So if you're buying, for your purpose, I think let it be an expanding flat. I'm okay with that, right? And we can show you some of those patterns. You know, there's tons of them. Here is a good example. You got a very sharp move. You got 1, 2, 3. You see this one? They came all the way to the top and then came down. This pattern here became a running flat because they didn't break this low. But this is the trade you're looking at right now. That is the piece. Will it touch the top? Will it break the top? Or will it stop short of the top? And all of those possibilities exist. It will still make a pattern like that. See it? I can take a snapshot of this and bring it over for you guys so you can understand how that works. This one is a bigger one, but it's a similar pattern. So I'll just squeeze it when we get there. So let me squeeze this one. And that is what you're looking at there, right? So the question is with this, you see this one was lower. This one was from here, right? That is that top. So the only question you're gonna ask is, can I stretch it? Yes, I think I can stretch it. Sorry, like slightly lower, yeah. If you put it like this, let me bring it slightly lower. That is the trade you're looking for. So will it touch the top, break the top, or don't go there? This one, hopefully this one is not going to stop short here, but this one is going to come down here and then go back up. See? You guys just learned how to do magic, right? And that's for free. All I'm asking for you to do is share this stuff. It's amazing, guys. I'm telling you, this thing is really amazing. When you start seeing them, you start remembering them, you start seeing these patterns. Like, I've seen that pattern before, you know. I know exactly what it's going to do. And it's easy because here's the thing. Like I said, sometimes the forecast is not right, but you don't get the trade. And that's okay. You know what you're up to when you're up to it. It's like people who take risk in any profession. They know what the risk is. So they're prepared for it. They know how to behave in different situations. You know, if you're one of the people who, I don't know, take any risky profession, and we are in a risky profession, right? So these people, they're trained, they're practiced, they know what is up to it. And it's the same thing here. You want to be the best in this. You want to learn to do this stuff. You want to be trained. You know when you're in a risky trade. You know how to manage that trade when you're in it. That's the good thing. That's the amazing thing about it. UK oil is the same, no difference here. This one has a better pattern though. This one has a much better pattern. It's easier to trade. Natural gas. Yeah, if you're one of those people climbing the Mount Everest, you trained for years to do it, right? And as you're climbing, although you've done all the training, you know the risk of every step you're taking. And you know that if this happens, I need to do this. And if that happens, whatever is going to happen, you know all the dangers and you know how to manage it. That's the point. It's exactly the point. In any profession, it doesn't matter. The same thing, you're trained to handle it. You know how to handle that. That's it. If you want to be a good trader, train yourself. Get the right training. That's the whole point. It's not about two horizontal lines and say when it break one you buy, or two I don't know, whatever, a pin bar or whatever you see. It's not about that. If it was that easy, we'll all be super millionaires. We'll all be billionaires if it was you see a pin bar you sell or you see a pin bar you buy. or break your support or resistance, you buy and sell. If it was that easy, I mean, come on, please. I don't even have to convince you that that is crazy stuff, because if it was that easy, we'll all be super rich. It's not that easy. But guess what? It's not impossible. That is the point. You can learn all these patterns and know the risk of every one of them. And if you do that, like my trader, after 1 year, you can double your account, right? The Millionaire Trader commercial is back again up on YouTube. You know, those guys, that's what they do. They promise you crazy stuff. Like the London, I still get that London daybreak one, and every time I go to YouTube, that is the first thing that pops up. Like, you know, it only take you 1.5 hours to learn. And if you can make $2,000 in 1.5 hours, wouldn't you take it? I had to laugh at that. I want to make every 1.5 hours, I want to make $1,000, right? But I'm not taking that because it's just very crazy, right? Any strategy, anything that takes you 1.5 hours to learn, and you're going to make a regular $1,000 every day, would have the whole world doing it. Everybody would leave whatever they're doing in their profession and go do that. It's not that easy. And these things sell. The funny thing is that guy finds crazy people to buy it. Like it or not. I'm saying it and people attack me for criticizing, but how do you go do that stuff? 1.5 hours is all they take to train you to become a super trader? 1.5 hours? Really? And you believe that stuff and buy it? I don't know how that works. It baffles me a lot, right? I don't see how you can promise people after 1.5 hours they'll start making money like crazy, right? I don't think if you want to sell McDonald's, if you want to flip burgers at McDonald's, they'll train you for more than 1.5 hours. I almost guarantee you that. I don't know what's the procedure, but I guarantee you, go check them. Hey, I would like to come and flip burgers or your shop. They will train you for more than 1.5 hours. I haven't checked it, but I'm almost sure that is what it is. They will not allow you to flip that burger if you don't have more than 1.5 hours trading. Like, please, is that so easy? Crazy stuff. They make you feel like it's that easy. And that's why most traders lose their money, right? 2 weeks for coffee, right? You see, just to make coffee, they'll train you for 2 weeks. Guys, this is doing exactly as you want. Watch it. We're going to get this little piece more down here, right? And then we're going to get that up trade. You can take a sell here. They're getting a sell setup for you, right? See, these guys bravely, you know, they do that stuff in trading, and they advertise it on YouTube nonstop. Every time I click on YouTube, because I'm a trader, all these trading ads pop up to me, right? I will probably use one of those things to block all the ads, but you know, please, it's annoying sometimes to know that people would think that it's so easy. There's a nice trade here. And the sad thing is that the people who are actually doing that, the people who are more desperate to make some money because they've lost money and all of that, and they think this is what's going to help them. They don't need 6 weeks of training and then 1 year of practice before you double your account. They want to double their account after 1.5 hours of trading, and then they end up losing more money. And you know the results. Some of you may know that, right? What happens? Look for sell setups. This one is behaving exactly as we expected. You see that flat in the middle, they broke the top and now they're coming down. You've got a sell set up there. Probably going to get some sell here. So you can look for sells on this. This is a complex pattern. So I think it looks more like a sell setup here to me to come back here. So watch this sell, but it might not be the sell that comes down here. They could probably, you know, make a more complex pattern in the middle there. So if you're trading this, the whole pattern is very complex, so keep your eyes on it. Take small trades each. This is the impulse. They're correcting within the impulse, which means they're just going sideways. Probably going to come here, go back up there, and then, you know, start to make sideways move in the whole piece there. If you're not able to trade it, just stay out of it. Nifty. Push back up, come back down. You're getting a running flat in the middle there. And if you get a sideways here, sell. Wait for a flag though before you sell. Wait for a 4-hour flag, not a 1-hour flag. 1-hour flag might not give you the full move. Wait for them to make a 4-hour flag before you sell. or let them come back up sharply to this top and then look for sell setups, because that will give you this pattern. Right, I'll give it expanding flat, and that would be a really strong pattern for downside. Oh, I don't know who are taking the courses, but people take it. If they keep advertising it, people take it. The sad thing about it is we love what we do, right? We love this profession. And I hate it when people write me. I hate is not the right word. Oh boy. Sorry about this. The alarm went off again in this place. I don't know what's wrong with these people in the building. I don't know what's wrong with this building, but that fire alarm goes on at least once a week. It's triggered. I keep telling these people, what's wrong with you people? 3 in the morning, that thing triggered. And no fire anywhere. They have to repair it. I told them already. I went down 3 in the morning and I was asking for the manager, like, what the hell is wrong with you people 3 in the morning? It's a lucky thing I didn't run down with my shorts thinking, it's sad. This building is going, right? No, it's nothing. It's very safe. I've checked them like 3, 4 times. It will come off in a minute or two. You just wait. It has happened so often that there is nothing. It's always that the alarm is faulty and they need to change it or something. I think somebody is cooking in their apartment sometimes and the smoke gets at it. If it's serious, they'll come knock at your door. No, I'm okay. I'm pretty safe, don't worry. Let's finish the webinar. I'll have enough time to go. I know when it's clear. Building is definitely not on fire. You see, it's gone. I know it. It's like once a week, it's a regular thing in this building. I'm gonna leave this building when my rent is over here, right? Let's go. Let's look at some Bitcoins for those of you who joined for Bitcoin, right? Good. So there, this just continue. Watch this trade. It's still gonna go. That one didn't go, right? Same thing here. This one did not go up. They're just pushing this down a little more. This will still go because all you're getting is an extension of this wave to the downside. That's not a lot of you wrote me and asked me, is it going to be total downside? No, it will not be. But as you know, they can stretch this a little more. You should have seen that coming, stretching it, go, come. They can do this. This wave is still coming. It has to come. They can come all the way to this low. Let me repeat this again for all of you. They can come all the way to that low. They can break the low and then go back up, right? Watch that, it will come. So if you're a Bitcoin trader, you're getting short term, all you had was a break-even trade on this buy. And if you took that buy, you got a break-even trade. If you follow my strategy in my room and you took that buy, you have like a hell of a lot of time to get the hell out of it, right? You got a chance to sell it there, you got a chance to sell it here. If you see these sells coming. So this one is just going down, right? They'll probably go some more. They'll probably come here, make another one go there, and then go up. That up one will come. Right? It's just making a deeper correction within this impulse. And they can tag the low of that impulse. That will not change the structure. Ethereum, this one was a sell though. We saw this sell coming, right? Remember this pattern here? I said, watch those patterns. This was a good sell. If you were looking at this pattern, that was a good sell. Where can this go? Let's see in the 4 hour what we have. This will also go back up. Look at a bigger structure. These patterns, these are just corrective structures, right? These are just corrective structures. So this will go back up. They'll retest this top. It's not the big up move. They'll retest that top and then come back. So at some point, this will start to make that up move. If you're a long-term investor in these, you can wait for that turning point. It's not turning just right now, but it will turn. XRP. This one also made a nice pattern here, both ways. You see this one looks upside, stop. Give you this, broke, you get a flag there, you get a flag here. An extension of this. Same thing, we thought this was gonna go, but they give an extension and they can go somewhere, but they're going up. So when they're squeezing down or pushing down so fast, and you are out of the trade, this will still go. This will probably be a rotting flat. As you can see, you got one, you're getting this one coming down. It will go back up like that. retest that area there, and then come down more. So this would go back up. You'll get that trade to the upside. And it's better to focus on the upside now. Don't focus on the downside of this one, right? Because you've got one impulse, you've got a correction, and it looks like, this will, at some point here, will start to go back up. So better when they're at this level to start focus on the upside, right? Remember where you wanted to buy. Let me just remind you about this trade. When they were doing this, you were supposed to be buying for that. If you wanted to sell, you were supposed to sell it when they were doing this. Let me show you where you're supposed to be selling. When they did this piece here, see that piece there? That's when you're supposed to be selling it. Now you're looking for buy setups again. And they will not retest that top though. They're just going to be consolidating, but you want to look for buy setups. Just understand how structure works. Don't let the move be the reason you want to buy or sell. Wait for the setup. You don't have a setup here. This is going down, and this could go down somewhere, but wait for that impulse correction and then buy. Don't try to get that piece. Try to get this piece, because that piece has the potential now. The buy has the potential, not the sell, right? So I think that's about it, right? USD, let's see. I think I have that one. If I have it, I'll do it. If I don't have it, I've got it there. You're getting a little flag here for some upside. You're getting a little flag there for some upside, right? So, okay, guys, one question I promised to answer. If everybody stick around, I'll answer it. Let me go back to, can the person please retype the question because it's gone so far? Was the question on the correction? Yes, okay, Keith, let's go. Let me answer that question. We'll call it, does the correction always have to be in the opposite direction of trend, or do flags also exist in the same direction of the trend? Very good question. Corrections correct the trend, right? So what you're looking for is an impulse and a correction that needs to correct this. But there were different numbers of different ways that correction actually happen. And sometimes that correction do go above the top of the trend. But the very first impulse of any correction will go opposite direction of the trend. So remember this, the very first impulse, all corrections are 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Corrections are always bigger structure, minimum 1, 2, 3. So you got this, the first impulse will go against it. The second one, which is the corrective impulse, structure within that correction, is going to follow the trend. It's going to go like this. Based on wave analysis and based on Elliott wave theory and based on what we have personally seen, the variations of patterns, this one could go slightly break the top. It could go very much break the top. Pretty huge breaking the top before the next impulse is followed, like this. And then continue that move up. Now, this all is the correction. It happens in a sideways move. The entire purpose of a correction is not to go up or down, it's to kill time. If you do math, and if you understand how charts are built, they're built in 2 axes, the X and the Y axis, right? When you study math in school. All charts are built in 2 axes. One of them is the time axis and one of them is the price axis, right? So when you're charting something, you're charting price against time. Impulses are price. Corrections are time. So when you're looking at corrections, you're looking at the time axis. That's part of my course I'm giving you guys here for free. You shouldn't be getting this stuff here, but okay. You're all very nice people. When you're studying corrections, you're studying the time axis. When you're studying impulse, you're studying this axis, right? So it's not about whether they should go down, they should go sideways, they should go up. It's about knowing the patterns, knowing how to recognize them correctly, understanding the behavior of these patterns. When you do all of that stuff, You can either take your own time, 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year to learn it. If you follow me for 3 years, you probably will learn some of it. Or you can take a 5 weeks crash course with me. You get access to learn that stuff. You get all the rules of it. You get to practice it and let us correct all your mistakes so that you're good at it. You get to spend the next couple months with us training and learning and get daily access to me doing a webinar and watching me do it. And you learn from that. You get to be in our trading room where you can post your trades before you take the trades, and 20 to 90 traders in the room will tell you, hey, that's a great trade, or you want to be careful, look at this, look at this, look at this before you take the trade, so that you don't take bad trades, you take good trades only. And if you do that for 6 months in the room, you're likely going to be a good trader if you have a lot of experience. If you don't, you will take about a year and then you can double your account. Or you take 3 years following me here and then you get some of it, not all of it. You will never get all of it, but you'll get some of it. You see, you never hear me talking about studying accesses in this webinar before, right? If you're following for 3 years, you never heard me say that. You got an extra piece of it today, right? There's much more to it. So you're just getting an extra piece, right? So you see now, if you stay here, maybe a year from now, I give you another extra piece of what we do in the course. But you can just take the 5-week crasher guy, $2,500, nothing compared to it. If the guy doubled a $95,000 account, he only paid me $2,500 for it. Do you think it's worth it? In 1.5 years, he made $95,000. He doubled that. And he only paid $2,500 for it. Is it worth it? Or should I raise the price? Think about it. And he gets to stay in the room for 1.5 years. Don't worry, forget about the course. He is still with us for he's one of the good traders in the room, but he's helping a lot of traders now becoming better. He got help from a lot of traders to become that way. And now he is helping those who are struggling. And that's why we keep the room the way we keep it, right? You can't pay me for 1 year in my room. Think about it. Even if you get access to me 1 hour a day, every day for 1 year, can you pay me for that? I doubt. But you get access to me more than 1 hour, because 1 hour is the webinar, and then I go into the trading room 2-3 times a day to be with them in the trading room in the volatile times. When there's news event, I'm in the trading room. I want to be there when it's the worst time for my traders, when it's volatile, so that I can take the risk. I take charge of the room and I said, okay, this is a risky time. Let me show you what we will do. So think about it. And the best thing about it is not the course, is that you get with a group of people who become your friends. When I landed in Dubai, I was amazed by the amount of help I'm getting from the group in Dubai. These guys showed me everything I need to know about Dubai, how to get my rent, how to do what. They took me around, where to get the car, which place you're going to do. They took me around to do everything I needed to do. You can't ask for better friendship than that. Right? They really, any question I want to know about Dubai, I just have to ask in the room and I will get 5-6 answers immediately. I don't even have to go find out for myself. I'll get the answers. One of them even is helping me paying my bills because I didn't have access to pay my bill. He said, don't worry. Just tell me what you want. And he paid the bills for me. I paid him back. And then he said, okay, well, until you get access, I'll pay it for you. Because they couldn't register me. They couldn't register me in the apartment. You have to register the rent apartment in Dubai, which is a new thing for me. And they couldn't register. They didn't have my country in the system. That was amazing, right? So for 2 months, they couldn't register me. And he just paid the bill for me. You get friendship to that level. Where people said, don't worry, I'll pay your house bills. I'll pay all the bills for you until you can pay them. Of course, I give him back the money, but they offered to pay. He did pay for them. Those things, there's no price you can put to that. You can't put price to friendship, right? And that's what you get in our room. These guys meet each other in their own countries. They get to meet people, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. That's what you want to be in there for, not just because you become a good trader when you're there, but you make good friends, right? So thank you all for coming. I hope you all can share this webinar, share the links, make sure there are people who cannot afford the course, thousands of them, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions who cannot afford the course, who are being fooled into buying crazy stuff. They will at least look at all my webinars. They will learn that you don't need to buy crazy stuff. And if you're a new trader, you don't need to buy any course, not even my course. If you're a new trader, don't buy any course. I keep saying that over and over. If you come to me and you're new, I will tell you, no, go spend a year, learn stuff out there, and then come back to me after a year. You're not ready to buy a course if you don't have 1 year experience in the market. So let's save some traders out there from being trapped by scammers. Share the links. Thank you, and hope to see all of you next week. Take care. Have a great weekend if you still have time. If you're like me, your weekend is over. Get some sleep. Take care, everybody. You're great. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Oh, I have to stop the YouTube one.